fly thing.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 times actors sued the movie studio.
I don't want to know.
I've done nothing but rub you the wrong way.
Don't do this.
Do what?
Come after me.
For this list, we'll be looking at the film industry performers who took film studios to court. Just as when an employee sues an employer, the lawsuits can get nasty, and sometimes the drama that unfolds in the courtroom is even more intense than during the movie. What's your verdict? Leave your objections in the comments. Number 10. Joe Pesci versus Fiore Films. Gotti. It can be argued that Joe Pesci may have dodged a career-shaped bullet when he pulled out of Gotti, a dramatized biopic of the life of mobster John Gotti.
This life ends one of two ways, dead or in jail. I did both.
That didn't stop the semi-retired actor from suing Fiore Films, the production company behind the picture, 7 years before it was actually released. Initially promised the role of mob captain Angelo Ruggiero, Pesci gained 30 pounds in preparation for the role, only to be recast into a literally and figuratively smaller and lesser paid role of underboss Anthony Casso.
No, I don't know. You said it. How do I know? You said I'm funny.
While CEO Mark Fiore maintained that they hadn't cast Pesci as Ruggiero at all, the Oscar-nominated actor's likeness was used for promotional material. The two parties reached a settlement.
Well, actually, this would be my first foray into the trial process. I haven't had to go to court yet. Knock on wood.
Number 9. Kevin Costner versus Morgan Creek Productions. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. In 2012, Kevin Costner filed a lawsuit against Morgan Creek Productions for unpaid profits from the 1991 film Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Might I have the pleasure of your name before I have you run through?
Robin of Locksley.
Costner alleges that Morgan Creek used deceptive tactics in order to misrepresent the financial earnings of the films, as he was entitled to at least 12.5% of the film's adjusted gross receipts. Morgan Creek claimed that it dealt with Costner in a fair manner, and the actor was paid more than $40 million for his work on the film.
Give us the reward and our partners. Wrong.
This case almost went to trial, but the two sides were able to reach a settlement just before presenting their case in front of a jury.
You wish to end this? You wish to go home?
Number 8. Burt Lancaster versus Columbia Pictures. Old Gringo. Film studios regularly take out insurance during the course of producing a film in case something should go wrong.
I might have to raise my fee when we do get physical.
When Columbia Pictures tried to get cast insurance for Burt Lancaster for the film Old Gringo, it was too expensive. Lancaster claimed in a 1988 suit against the studio that they wrongfully let him go when they replaced him with Gregory Peck.
What was it?
What was what?
Lancaster sought $1.5 million in damages for breach of an oral contract. He alleged that Columbia never notified him there was a problem obtaining the insurance, even though he had been declared in good health after recovering from quadruple bypass heart surgery. The suit was eventually settled out of court.
I don't need you anymore.
Number 7. Crispin Glover versus Universal and Amblin Entertainment. Back to the Future Part 2. When Crispin Glover didn't return as George McFly for the Back to the Future sequels, producers recast Marty's father with Jeffrey Weissman.
What happened to Grandpa?
Oh, he threw his back out again.
How's Granddad's little pumpkin?
How did you do that? How did he do that?
Oh, out on the golf course.
The studio did not only reduce George McFly's role, but had Weissman wear prosthetics to closely resemble Glover, in addition to reusing footage shot from the first film.
I know what you're gonna say, son. And you're right. You're right.
Glover took exception to this and filed a suit claiming that his likeness was taken without his permission. The case was settled out of court, but did lead to some changes.
Don't you know if you let people walk over you now, they'll be walking over you for the rest of your life?
The Screen Actors Guild has since adopted clauses in their bargaining agreements, preventing producers from reproducing the likeness of other actors. Number 6. Sylvester Stallone versus Warner Brothers. Demolition Man. Similarly to Kevin Costner's situation from earlier, this particular case didn't come to fruition until over 20 years after the movie's release.
That's great.
According to Sylvester Stallone's 2017 lawsuit against Warner Brothers, he had not been receiving his percentage of Demolition Man profits. Warner countered that the film had not made any profit, and therefore they didn't owe Stallone anything.
So let me get this right.
This wasn't Stallone's only grievance with the studio. In 2018, Stallone amended his suit, arguing that he was also owed payments from the films Tango and Cash, Cobra, and The Specialist. This case was eventually settled out of court for an undisclosed sum, and both sides saying that the matter has been resolved.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
Number 5. Elizabeth Taylor vs. 20th Century Fox, Cleopatra. In a drama that was almost as tense in the courts as it was on the screen, Elizabeth Taylor sued 20th Century Fox, alleging Fox failed to pay her 10% of the box office receipts.
I'm pleased to say I received nothing of the kind.
In response, the studio filed its own suit against Taylor and co-star Richard Burton, claiming their on- and off-set behavior was detrimental to the success of 1963's Cleopatra.
I remember that night in Rome, saying it could still come true.
You said so much that night.
Fox sought $50 million in damages for the long-troubled film that nearly bankrupted the studio, as they suspended all other productions in order to complete it. In the end, a settlement was reached where Taylor is said to have received $7 million, which is about $60 million after adjusting for inflation.
By Isis, I swear it.
Number 4. Dame Olivia de Havilland vs. Warner Brothers. Various. Dame Olivia de Havilland was a British-American actress signed to Warner Brothers. At the time, contracts mandated a 7-year commitment. Studios would add time for days actors weren't working, as this was seen as a suspension of the contract.
Is it not true, Miss de Havilland, that on such and such a date, you failed to report to the set to play such and such a role in such and such a film?
This frequently resulted in them being extended past 7 calendar years. De Havilland balked when Warner added 6 months to the end of her contract and filed a suit claiming she fulfilled her obligation to the studio. The courts backed her claim, and studios could no longer hold performers past 7 years.
And it's said, you've won in the Superior Court.
The result of this ruling was a big step towards reducing the power studios held over performers, while at the same time giving actors greater artistic freedom.
How can I thank you enough for what you did for us? How can any of us thank you enough?
Number 3. Faison Love vs. Universal, Couples Retreat. Couples Retreat is a comedy released in 2009 starring an ensemble cast. Despite the story following 4 couples trying to heal their relationships at a resort, the marketing material seemed to only focus on 3.
See, that's gonna be a problem.
No.
Hell to the no.
This was an oversight that did not go unnoticed by one of the movie's co-leads, Faison Love. Promotional posters appeared to not only omit his likeness, but that of his on-screen partner, Callie Hawk. Love sued Universal for racial discrimination and whitewashing, alleging that only the black artists were left off.
Dave, you're white. You can't understand this. This is something different.
Though Universal replaced the posters in the US, the originals were still used internationally. In 2021, he withdrew the suit after reaching an amicable agreement with Universal. Number 2. Gerard Butler vs. New Image, Millennium Media, and Padre Nuestro Productions, Olympus Has Fallen. Only a day after our number 1 entry broke the internet, Gerard Butler launched his own suit against the makers of Olympus Has Fallen, seeking at least $10 million from the film's profits.
Yeah, I know.
In the suit, Butler claims that the producers purposely misrepresented the film's sales so that they wouldn't have to pay what he's owed, while at the same time an unreported $8 million went to company executives.
Why'd you do it?
Butler went on to do 2 more films in the Fallen franchise, but that didn't stop him from demanding his share of the financially successful series. Millennium responded to the suit, saying that nothing is owed to Butler, and it was disappointed in the resulting situation.
Yeah, but it hasn't worked out so far.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Scarlett Johansson vs. Disney Studios, Black Widow. After COVID-19 forced Disney to push back the release of Black Widow, they switched gears and simultaneously released the film on their streaming service Disney+.
Ugh, it's fine. I'm actually better on my own.
However, this was a problem, as Johansson's contract stipulated an exclusive theatrical release, along with a part of her salary based on box office performance.
Great. Perfect timing.
In her suit, she alleges that she tried to negotiate new terms after learning of the streaming plans, but both Disney and Marvel didn't respond. Disney, for its part, claimed it complied with Johansson's contract, and she's already been well paid for the role. The result of this lawsuit could have large implications for how performers are compensated in the streaming era.
You shouldn't have gone to all this trouble. I'm done.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.